Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 11. We both have things to say, but they're not the same thing.
They are definitely not the same thing, and I'm just going to go out on a limb here and assume that my thing is just way more important and way more interesting. So let's get into it. I'm sure this is a really common experience for all Swifties, Taylor Swift fans out there, all of you. I'm sure you were thinking to yourself, which song from the newest Taylor Swift album would fit Eren Yeager best? Which one would he really be jamming out to? Is he standing in front of the mirror at the sink, all wet? And I would just like to nominate the song that I think. And if you disagree with me, I would totally be willing and open to hear your not as good nominations. But Vigilante Shit, Taylor Swift, new album.
Heard it for the first time last night. It tracks. It works. Definitely check it out. You ever get out of the shower and you're all wet and you look in the mirror and you're like, man, I wish Eren Yeager was looking back at me?
Yes.
Yeah. That wasn't what I had to say. I'm sorry.
That wasn't?
I enjoy editing this show. Since starting the channel, I'd say that I used to edit all the time and now we try to split it, But I usually edit Attack on Titan and I love it because I think I appreciate things a little more seeing it the second time. And I know we've talked about doing a rewatch, and now more than ever, I think doing a rewatch after we finish this show is going to be so fruitful for us. Because watching it the first time, I think that I made one mistake based on an assumption, and that is that I think I connected the family who came over to and had the whole Mikasa relative descendant thing. I connected them to the Ackermans because of this pre-established connection between two characters that were actually related all along. And seeing the actual subtitles last episode, it's not the case. It's Mikasa's mom's side, which is not Ackerman. Sorry.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. But
that
also
makes me feel silly.
Yeah, but the main thing that I really wanted to talk about that I loved is something that's, it's going to sound like a really weird comparison, but I don't know where the original speech is from. I know you haven't seen Ted Lasso, but there's something called the practice speech in it. And I believe it's quote for quote, word for word, something from somewhere else, not from Ted Lasso. But I don't know. That's all I can reference it to. But the way that Hanji was talking to Eren in the beginning of last episode, the whole fight, I'm going to reference this moment to everybody I talk to about Attack on Titan as the fight talk, the fight talk, the fight conversation, because it was so intriguing to rewatch Hanji talking to Eren like this, because she has this look in her eyes that's so inquisitive to the point of reminding me to how she first was talking about Titans to Eren, how we first were introduced to her, and this fear almost of where this person has gone. I don't think this is Eren anymore, or the Eren that I knew. And her just dissecting two words I don't know. I thought that it held attention really, really well. The pacing was well done. Acting was great, but it was almost like a viewer was inserted into the world, because if that same scene happened, but it was just 10 seconds and Eren looking in the mirror saying fight, we still got the information there, but it was putting Hanji into that situation and having her dissect it and then revealing that something happened to Historia and Eren let it happen. It just ties this whole thing back into a package of who are you now? Time's passed, things have changed, why? And I don't know, it really definitely held my attention.
It held both of our attention. I think it kickstarted what the rest of the episode was going to show us, and going back and forth 2 years and then 2 years to really have us have a humongous question in our heads by the very end, being so what was the thing? What changed Eren?
Yeah.
What was it? Last episode didn't necessarily answer it for us. It gave us theories.
Yeah.
But we were just left with this giant question of okay, so what was the moment?
Yeah. And I also didn't 100% understand that Hizuru was going to help Paradis or Paradis catch up in terms of technology, which explains the railroad later. I don't know.
Unfortunately, didn't they say they might take back some of the help if Paradis decided to trade with other nations?
Yeah, they did. That is very true. Also, the Historia thing is still like I'm trying to like process it, right? Historia's pregnant. Like what? It obviously seemed like something that wasn't out of like sporadic love and seemed like she was trying to do it. Did she actually try to do it to buy time, like the guy suggested?
Like they're not gonna turn a pregnant woman into a Titan and have her eat Eren or Zeke.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm immersed in the world, and I'm really enjoying the show. Ready?
Yes.
Sweet. Is this a plan? Yeah, it's a plan. Oh, what's in there? A brick?
Well, more now since you just killed someone.
What a cut.
He heard their voices. Does that possibly give us the actual fact that eventually either Gabby or Falco will get Reiner's Titan?
Maybe.
I've been so nervous lately, every beginning of each episode. They might have printed it in the newspaper. Wow, she is breaking. Do not.
Holy shit.
How crazy would it be if this is where Historia is?
Hey, that's me. Sasha's? This is so tense.
Welcome to the world's most dangerous island. They need
Jurassic
a sign.
Park. Flying boat powered by Iceburst Stone.
Oh, stop! Hello! Wow.
Holy crap. Flock. Wow. Think Eren's gonna have followers and there's gonna be a divide?
Lead the country.
It's gonna be an uprising. Damn.
The division.
You know, I would not be surprised if Flock starts working out and growing his hair out.
Wow.
What a callback.
What?
Hanji's such a great character.
Was she right in? Was she with all the people?
Yeah, she was the kid.
So many callbacks
This
in
is
this episode
ridiculous.
so far.
This is insane. What?
He was the guard.
Able to see Aaron. It's for Aaron. Oh my god, let me hear that conversation. That's the pretty lady. Oh.
He's gonna bite her head.
Shallot? No shot!
No. That'd be wild.
Horses just don't go around biting people's head. I know they do, but they don't. Like, you know? It is Historia's thing. Oh.
Is that what they teach you in Marley?
No.
No, are you serious? I'm gonna go to very much not liking you in 5 seconds. She's cheered up some, so she doesn't get along with people. Who couldn't? My mom who couldn't run? Stop! Stop!
I cannot believe
How is this?
how many things are coming back.
What about the Gabby, you've even said that you weren't there.
The song. Holy shit. You're welcome. God, best character in this entire show.
Stop!
That makes everything hurt more.
I know.
And who killed that girl? Gabby. Right there. Fuck, man.
I'm gonna cry, like...
She was...
Sasha's influence is gonna influence Gabby through this girl, and I am gonna cry.
I am crying. Holy shit, that came out of nowhere for me. I just...
Reiner, how do you feel about that? Is Reiner gonna go back to the walls?
It's when they least expect it. Holy shit, bro.
He was the commander, you know? Like, the chief.
Fuck. Okay, that was Attack on Titan, Season 4, Episode 11. That is in my top 5 episodes, like, of all time. Like, or maybe 10. I don't know. I have too many favorite episodes. That was a great episode. I've never cried that way before. It was really weird for me. Like, I wasn't, like, emotional or anything. Like, in the moment, I was like, oh, this is crazy. They brought her back, influence, and then, like, everything started.
Was it the perfectionism of it?
I think so. I think so. And it was just so... It wasn't the first thing they brought back in the episode, so I expected it even less. And then the fact that they were in the house. Like, they went to... What, Kaya? Mm-hmm. They went to Kaya's house, or old house, and they were there, and you could see the axe, and, like, I saw the shot in my head, and, like, I don't know. That, like, I just started bawling, like, of, thinking about Sasha and how she's dead now, man. Like, that really hurt. And we know that the restaurant. Like, we know, like, and
we
the
know who's
there.
Gonna be the chef there.
Yeah.
So everything is tying to Sasha. Like, this is insane.
It's
like,
fucked me up,
especially,
man.
Okay, so I'm not gonna say, like, Gabby hater or anything, because that's not necessarily the case. I think I've articulated myself pretty well, at least in discussions about how I feel about Gabby and why she frustrates me so much is because she is just a continuation of this cycle, and also everything she says is very hypocritical. And so sometimes it could just be like a little bit too much for me, where I'm like, which is kind of how I felt during this episode, but like in an endearing way where I'm like, oh my god, this kid, I want her to wake up. I want her to be more open-minded. I want her to realize that she is just going to continue on in this hatred and animosity until it literally breaks her. And I don't want that. Like, I see so much fun and so much good that I love about Gabby, and so to have her you
want her to be a good person.
Yes, because her holding on so tightly to this hatred is doing a massive disservice to her growth, her happiness, all of that. This is a person that at the moment thinks that the best path for herself is to die in some way. You know, she is doing herself a massive disservice of happiness, of wanting the best for herself. It's like she thinks that she has to be sacrificial here, and that she just needs an answer and then she can die. And that is also something that's frustrating to me, because I never want a character to be so willing to walk toward death. I never love that. I mean, I love it from a narrative point because I want to root for that character to realize differently. But here with this was the perfect, I'm sorry if I'm going on a little bit too much. This was the perfect way to start a path of Gabby.
You think a Gabby redemption arc's coming?
I don't know Gabby redemption, but Gabby to at least realize that things are not as cut and dry as she's trying to make them out to be.
I don't even think she's trying to make them cut and dry. I think, like,
she's saying all these things, like, the way she was talking to Kaya was like, I wanted to be like, dude, you're an Eldian too. Like, she was like, your people did this. And I'm like, yeah, but they're also your people. So, like, a little hypocritical there, aren't we?
I don't know. I could sit here and play devil's advocate again with it, because I do think that there are more complexities. Like, I think that Gabby knows that. Like
right,
of course
she's
she
breaking.
knows that. But, like,
she wants to hold on to the information.
I know, and saying the whole justification of, like, you're an Eldian too, aren't you being hypocritical? Like, that's the point, I think, and, like, to show where Gabby is. But again, I'm saying this I'm framing it. I'm not gonna play devil's advocate this time for it, because I have a different opinion about Gabby right now that is taking precedent. I love Gabby and don't want her to change. And you want to know why? This episode I realized, and I'm just going to start enjoying the series more because of it, Gabby's Borat. Like, Gabby's, like, running, like, came to America for the first time,
God.
hates Jewish people, and is calling them all devils, and is and needs to have the same type of redemption that Borat ends up having. Like, that's...
my wife.
That's my whole, like, worldview right now, is that
God.
Gabby is Borat.
Well, I do like Borat, so that makes things a little more difficult here.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not a Gabby hater. She just makes me want to go, a little bit. Like, I really was happy with how Kaya handled herself there in that conversation. It's like when someone is trying to hold on and grasp something so much, they're hanging on for dear life. And Kaya just kept nailing her with the same question over and over again to really just, like, get it into her head that, like, did her mother do that? Was she there? And that was the recall of Gabby saying to Falco, did you see it? Were you there? Gabby's already said to herself that she shouldn't be judged for the things that people that weren't her or lived before her did. And she is judging these people for the things their ancestors did.
How can she not? She
can by realizing she's also an Eldian.
I'm being facetious. Like, how can she not in her character? Like, into what's true about... Like, we have to accept the facts at hand and the characters at hand, right? Because Falco's who you want Gabby to be. Falco's who I want Gabby to be in the broad scheme of things morally, right? You want, like... But... Gabby, everything that the best character in anime, Kaya, said to Gabby this episode is incredibly obvious, right? And incredibly in your face, like, the fact that, well, Kaya's, my mom, what did she do? She didn't kill anybody. Oh, but, and Gabby reiterating, like, oh, but no, this just happened to my people. You guys are still evil. And Kaya's being like, no, 4 years ago, before any attack, my mom wasn't a part of anything. That's all, like, very obvious, I think, even to Gabby a little bit, like, to a certain extent.
Of course.
It's just I find it so interesting the way that they're, like, using her.
That's why the emotions are so heightened, is because she's aware of these things and she is trying to push them away.
I'm like, it's so,
and
it's
hold
such
on
a
to,
treat.
like, indoctrination.
It's such, like, a narrative treat to have her here, like, because they could have easily not had somebody like Gabby.
I'm
in
not,
the
like,
story.
wishing her away.
Yeah,
I want to make that
know.
clear. Like, she's definitely, I think one of the things we appreciate about Attack on Titan is the different perspective, different POV, different people feel different ways as if they're all their own person. And so, yeah.
They, like, Gabby and Falco could be either dead right now, never written into the story, or back in Marley. But to see, like, I don't know, to see it play out is such a treat for me. Like, I don't rarely see anything executed as well in media. So I'm, like, it's so interesting.
So you want her to stay this way?
I don't know if I want her to be redeemed. She killed Sasha.
But then what would a future for her be if she doesn't realize that she's wrong? Death?
Yeah.
You could see them not doing redemption for this character, and then her just dying in some attempt to get Zeke to answer her question,
or attempt to redeem the character itself, like either die for Falco, die for
Kaya,
that way, or just keep the character not redeemed, and it's because of that way is that she ends up dying. Again, we're season 4, episode 11. Like, I think it would take some time to feel like a complete redemption or 180 of Gabby's character would be done.
I don't think so.
I
think I disagree.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I think it's just a very emotional kid.
That's true.
Who is trying to hold on to the things that she's been taught since she was a child, that she's learned. And to unlearn things, yes, can be a really long process, but people start those processes and they're long processes, and we might not see toward the end of it. Like, we might not see Gabby at the end of her working through unlearning things, and we might not see the end.
Like, we're not going to see 20 years in the future when Gabby's organizing charity events for Paradis kids. Like that's not. I get what you're saying. But you just want to see steps toward like a positive redemption.
I think maybe a little less. I think that her quick emotions and her loud emotions are purely just because it's like a fight instinct.
Yeah.
Like, she feels like she has to defend herself. She feels like she has to hold on to these things. And I think once she loosens up that grip a little bit and she's shown that she can stop being so angry, then that is when she will at least mellow out. And I think even if we don't see progress in terms of her being open-minded, we'll at least see her mellow out and not be so much of an aggressor.
Yeah. Like, I love when, like, in the beginning of the episode, when she's just reiterating, like, the term good Eldians. Like, it's so funny.
She says that, and then she goes on talking like she's not even one.
It's
interesting.
It's so interesting, dude. I love this show so much. I don't know why thinking about Gabby makes me so happy. Like, it really does. I don't know if, like, I'm a sadist or something.
I don't know. It makes you happy and it makes me frustrated.
It makes me like, I love seeing it in writing, dude. Like, I don't know.
I'm happier for it, but I'm also more frustrated for it. So it's just a bunch of emotions.
But good Eldian funny. Next, good Eldian funny. I wrote in my notes, I wanted to go back and look at the flying boat. Did I get that right?
Oh, I bet they said that just to explain it to the people of Parody. It's a flying boat.
But what is it?
I think it's like a little airplane, like a fighter pilot plane.
We've never seen that before.
It's an observation craft, so I feel like it's one of those like stealth little planes.
It's definitely not an air balloon. It looks like it's like a high-tech, like modern plane.
Yeah. And
obviously we had like a little bit of, I don't know, acknowledgement last episode of the people of Hizuru, about the idea of aerial combat and seeing the ODM gear itself. So it seems like it's like the perfect fit, right? Like we have materials now to work with. We can easily produce like a awesome type of craft. It may just be the world's first flying boat powered by iceburst stone. So it's probably something they have they've already have the technology for, but the only thing they've changed is the way to power it.
Yeah. Well,
the world's first.
Didn't it seem like Hizuru knew what an iceburst stone was already? When Zeke gave them the ODM gear, he was like, "You would know about this," or something of that energy.
I think that it was like, this is like gold to us, kind of thing.
But doesn't that possibly allude that they would know what that resource was?
Think about it like gold, or like a rare material that's produced by the world. It's going to be located other places.
Yeah, like geographically, you're right. Yeah. You're right. They probably might have like a mine of it on the mainland nearby and just ran out, and then there's a big amount of it on this island. Do you think the same scene? Welcome to the world's most dangerous island.
That was Jurassic
I was like,
Park.
I want to see it on a big sign.
That was such a badass line. Not gonna lie, that was super cool. I wonder, like, when the king came here, like originally, right, and took the people here. Do you think that there was reason for it being like the home of Iceburst Stone or Iceburst Crystal or whatever?
I'm torn between if you thought, wow, if we go... So, okay, if the king didn't want to fight, why would he go somewhere with a resource that the rest of the world might try to obtain through fighting methods? So either he didn't know it existed, or he did and he was hoping that his people could use it and thrive, and was just thinking that if anyone attacked them, the rumbling would happen. I'm not quite sure. I'm still under the impression that the king never wanted the rumbling to happen, ever, and was gonna hope that his successors of the Founding Titan would ensure that it never did have to happen.
The whole idea, I find it really interesting how they're not even taking Eren at this point, but they're taking society's view of Eren right now, because like
it's nice to see it. It's nice to see, like, he wasn't there for a bit, you know? And so it is nice to see how not only the people close to him feel about him, but the general public.
I don't think that Eren's ideals and what the group supporting him, or the 5 or 4, I don't remember how many people supporting him, I don't think their ideals are one for one. I don't think they match up. But I think that it's really interesting that they used Flock to do this, because it adds to it. Like, it makes so much sense. Like from the end of last season, whenever Erwin died, into now, and how they've treated his character.
It's
I
like
find
Flock
it so
is seeing
interesting.
Eren as the replacement of Erwin, in a way.
Yeah, like, we need a devil, right? Like, that kind of thinking. But
he doesn't think Hanji cuts it.
Bro,
I don't think.
I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before like an insurrection, you know, or a revolt, especially if it's not like you have 6 months to wait. Oh my God, a surprise attack now. We need to do something, and our easy win, GG, is locked in the basement. We're gonna get him out. And
if you can't trust your, like, most powerful weapon to try to hold back Marley attacking, like, I don't envy Hanji's position at the moment. Like,
I love Hanji.
She was not... For all of the reasons that Levi articulated, other people articulated Erwin to be so good at his job, the reasons he was so good at his job, basically, like, cutting some ties with the humanity within him, an ability to be colder, an ability to be more like a human devil. You know, Hanji is not that. She is an inquisitive, curious, fun, lighthearted scientist.
Yeah.
Like, yes, she's epic and badass, and she can lead a squad, but that doesn't mean she wanted all of the responsibility of the entire, like, military conflict, the government, all of that, and the choices they make on her shoulders with a giant possible global war about to happen.
If there was anybody that I would trust to do it other than Erwin, it would be Hanji. I think Hanji's like one of the strongest characters in the show. I think that her emotional state is so interesting because you can see her, like, personality and humor through the seriousness and severity that she has to deal with.
Is that what makes the serious stuff that's happening military and government-wise more entertaining to the viewer when it's met with Hanji's energy?
It's just so interesting because couldn't you, any other character or even Hanji, couldn't you imagine just using the stress and all this, like, pressure that's on her to just change her character completely in, like, a flat, like how we see Historia's face or Eren's face?
Yeah, they're either disassociated, cold,
it's like
calculated, they're basically a robot, any of those things, but she is still very much Hanji.
My favorite scene of her this episode was when everybody left and she was in the chair and, like, waving her arms. I was like, oh my God.
Hanji.
I know. It's just so good. And, like, she was remembering what the dude said to her. It was in the jail cell, like, 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, Interior Police.
But, oh my God, it was so good. I was like, what do you do if you're... One of the hardest positions I think a character is in right now is Hanji, because... you're aware of this cycle, right? You're aware of it.
She's walking on that line of, like, she judged the Interior Police, and now she's kind of doing similar things.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, she is aware of the cycle that's happening, and she is doing her best right now with every decision she's trying to make and trying to do what's best for herself, the world, and people in general, what's good. And she's still a part of the cycle. Like, how do you break out of it? It seems like the only way you break out of it is if you have power to, and Hanji doesn't. Most people don't. The only people who really have that power are the people with the power of the Titans. And are they trying to break the cycle? Should the cycle be broken? Is it a better outcome if the cycle's broken? What does it look like afterwards, you know? Because you're going back to the whole, like, threat of the rumbling, right? If the rumbling happens, I guess the threat of the rumbling is technically, like, a good route, maybe, right? Like,
yes, Hanji's like, oh, it's still a myth to us.
Yeah.
But still.
I'm trying to think it through. Obviously, if you don't want to exist in this cycle that you've deemed to be inherently bad and wrong, and you're going to get attacked and your people are going to get killed, then killing the entire population of the rest of the world doesn't sound like a great idea, but I could see that. Threatening the rest of the world and putting them potentially in their place. I don't know. Do you believe that they're actually going to just use a small portion of the rumbling's power to threaten people?
Well,
or
we
do you
talked
think
about it. We didn't even know if that was possible.
Or do you think that when, like, push comes to shove, Aaron's going to be like, all right, well, you gave me everything I needed to do a test run. Let's just do the real thing. Like,
right, like, because then that also entails having trust in both Eren and Zeke. And I just wrote this down quickly because I wanted to remember it. Because I really loved Hanji's main line to Eren when they were on the airship about not trusting him anymore, that he trusted them and they no longer trust him.
Yeah.
But here in this conversation that Hanji had with Flock and the other people that gave up information, she does agree that it is possible that Eren could be the person to lead them. And that shows a validation for me, and it fits her character, I think, a validation for me that she is not one that believes people are unredeemable to her. I think she could come to a point of trusting him again or believing in him again. He would just need to prove it to her. I don't think she's cut herself off from the possibility, and it might be seen as a weakness on her. Some people might see that, and I'm obviously speculating that I think that is the case for her. Not that it's a weakness, but that there's room in her heart to get to a point where she trusts him again, or at least gives him a little bit more leeway. So some people might think of that as a weakness, that she could possibly forgive him. Other people might think, oh, well, it's a smart decision. Why wouldn't you trust him? There's probably a bunch of all over the spectrum of that.
Hanji's always trying to, like, completely understand the board, you know? And that's
she wants
what
to
I
understand
respect about
everyone
her.
And everything.
And that, because if you're trying to make the best decision possible, the best way to do that is understanding the situation that you're in, right? Like, and completely to that just be as educated as you possibly can before you make your decision, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Hanji's just a great character. And then fucking Luis. Like, why the fuck did you have to do that to me? Like, I cannot believe that happened. I cannot believe that.
But it's so good because it's a character that's now, like, obviously a character tied to Sasha, totally cool, especially with Gabby involved, but a character tied to Mikasa about Eren. Like, this character is tied to Mikasa and did a thing that Mikasa is not even doing at the moment, which is, I mean, Mikasa is Eren's, like, strongest supporter in Eren's corner. She is willing, if someone so much as, like, bumps into Eren, she is willing to, like, pull off the gloves and, like, get ready to punch them. But Mikasa never gave up any information about Eren. Flock did, Luis did, these couple other people did, and Luis there is like, I thought you joined the Scouts for Eren. I thought you acted the way that you do. You made your choices based on Eren, and you believed in him. And it's interesting here that this causes a stir in Mikasa.
I love that Luis, to me at least, is looking for validation that she did right because she looks up to Mikasa, and potentially it's the reason that she became a scout in the first place. But I love that she just kept, like, trying to justify her actions in a way that she thought would be nice to Mikasa to hear.
That would reach her.
Yeah.
That Mikasa would understand.
Yeah. And then you're right. It happened. We had these flashes from Mikasa's perspective back to when Eren saved her and killed these two people. I would love to know what you think about it.
About that flash?
About her having the flash, yeah. And like what that means. Because I have ideas too.
Okay. At first, what it means to me is that Louise said the right things for whatever intended effect she wanted to have at trying to, she at least got somewhat closer to, she hit some things.
Yeah.
And she was right about some things that she said in a way to evoke a response from Mikasa that Mikasa might actually agree with her to some degree. And I feel very weird about the energy from this flashback. It was almost like Mikasa was scared of Eren.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got that vibe too, but it was very odd to me. Like, Mikasa went in there charging when she was ready to kill these people. Like, she broke the floorboards with her strength. But maybe...
Only because Eren, like, said to break it, you know, like, to, like, break her mental, I mean. Like, to, like, you know, go.
But what would the fear here be? Would it be overkill? Would she be scared of an overkill that Eren maybe Eren kept stabbing this man? And because we got a reference to overkill in this episode.
Yeah.
Falco was like, Gabby, you're overkilling, when she kept smashing the guy's head, and he was probably already dead after the second one.
Like remembering that there needs to be somebody to rein Eren in, kind of thing.
Is that what Mikasa feels like her job is to make sure that he doesn't get scary?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Or Ben crazy thinking time that I think could be a possibility is that she's remembering this of Eren and that it's making her like realize that she's seen the Eren now before. I'm thinking that if there is a timey-wimey thing, maybe Eren, like back then it was like something took over Eren to do this whole thing, and he did it in order to get Mikasa on his side and get Mikasa to surpass these crazy limits so that he could use her later on in life.
I mean, that would be wild and crazy theory Ben time. I also think it's interesting that he looks surprised when he looks over at her, almost, when she's laying on the floor. But I also think that it might be used, this flashback might be used for us to realize that maybe Eren hasn't fallen so far from his original self as some characters and we might possibly speculate.
Yeah.
That it's not that Eren that we saw come out of his Titan in the middle of that square in Marley after killing a bunch of innocent people and children. You know, maybe that Eren isn't totally off base, like where did he get, how did he get there, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that the path to getting there was a lot clearer than we might be trying to sum up it as something. Maybe, it had to be something big that would make Eren switch and change.
And just like a reminder that
it was accessible to him to get here. And I think I might have been trying to think that it had to be something giant and elaborate that would get him to change. But right now I'm thinking, what if it was in one word? What if it was barely anything? And it was significant enough to him for him to go along with this plan, but that doesn't mean it had to be like a monumental piece of information.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a monumental piece of information. It could have meant anything, but it definitely had to come from Yelena. Because like we got confirmation that there was a meeting there.
Flock was Yelena's guard.
Does this confirm Eren has a house? You know?
Does it? Oh yeah, like she was near where they were living.
Yeah. What does Eren's house look like?
I don't know.
Isn't that like a great question?
I do think that it just made me think that I didn't even like totally comprehend that this was a Marleyan that probably, like in this house with Falco and Gabby, this was a Marleyan that probably came over on the ships and surrendered to the island and started a new life, worked for this orphan shelter. I don't know why that didn't really, like, that's a Marleyan southern accent or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to read the mid-roll?
I do. In Titan studies, the Paradis Island threat, there's type over top of it. So, Theory claims the Eldians who fled to Paradis still bear a grudge from the Great Titan War and despise the rest of the world.
Interesting.
In Titan studies, the Parody Island threat theory claims that Eldians who fled to Parody still bear a grudge from the Great. So that means both the Eldians in Marley and the Eldians in Parody bear a grudge to the Great Titan War. That means that Gabby could come across people like Flock or maybe someone else that is totally like, wow, those people sucked.
Yeah.
She could meet people that have the exact viewpoint that she does, but from the island.
In Titan studies. Are Titan studies courses that happen where? In Parody, Paradis, or Marley?
Right.
Or in the rest everywhere?
I don't know if Marley would have taught that Parody knew they did something wrong.
You want to know why I feel like it's not from Paradis? Because it's called the Paradis Island threat, right? Like, you're referring to them as a threat, and if it's a threat, it's going to be a threat to you, whoever's teaching the course.
Oh, they despise the rest of the world.
And yeah, they have motive.
You're right, it's Marley.
But it's interesting though, right? Like
what it's claiming
everywhere.
is that they still have a grudge. Oh, for probably being defeated in the Great Titan War, and that's why the rumbling would happen if the rest of the world interfered. Like, they're still angry.
And it would
I completely misread that.
And it would
for some reason.
It would almost explain away beforehand if anything was to start happening. If like little kids in a classroom who are innocent, and like enough, and they see like all these colossal titans coming towards them, he'd be like, I know exactly what it is. It's because Paradis is still bearing a grudge, like, kind of thing. It's just interesting to think about. God, we have to see it, right? They're not gonna show us the rumbling at some point, and
is that like one of the ending things? Is that like the last couple episodes?
I don't know.
Something with the rumbling happens. I mean, if Marley does a surprise attack?
Sorry. You're right. I got really excited. I got so excited. I just turned the page and wrote. I forgot. I read the name Shallot. He's back. He survived. I don't know how.
I thought Shallot got flung in the air.
Yeah, and he landed
on his feet like a cat.
Yep. Boop. Horses do that.
This is just maybe his brother or something.
I am not budging. Convince me that Gabby is going to get redeemed. Fine. You can't convince me that this isn't Shallot. That is the best moment of my life. I'm sorry.
So you're claiming that a horse biting onto a human's head or nipping it is a solely Shallot trait. And we call them Shallot because that's what it sounded like. I think it's like Shawrot or something in actual spelling.
Look. In universe, it happens. It has to have happened before that sometime in history a horse has bitten somebody's head and it hasn't been Shallot.
Just sometime in history.
It's the mangaka and the showrunner's responsibility not to show us every time and keep the story straight in a cohesive narrative that viewers will be invested in. We can't break away to see every horse, bite people's hair.
And there's only one horse we truly care about.
There's only one horse we've seen it happen with. And to bring it back again, it's intentional. It has to be a creative, intentional choice to bring Shallot back into the story for some purpose. And that purpose is to make me very happy.
And did it? Did it work?
I'm a very happy person right now. Yes. But also, again, just want to reiterate, Kaya is like, the addition of Kaya was so welcome, and she did such a great job as a character this episode. Like, to make me like get the response that I had out of a character I just like was reintroduced to or met or really learned about in one episode. That was so good. It was so well done.
I remember how scared I was in that specific scene with Sasha,
Yeah.
All that time ago, season 2, I believe. I remember how scared for Sasha I was there. That was terrifying because the Titan, like, Kaya was right. This Titan was eating her mother alive. This is different than the other Titans the one that Dina, that killed Aaron's mom, that was like a one-hit wonder, The one that Sasha fought, I remember saying to you, I think during that reaction, like, that's the creepiest of all of the Titans that I've seen because it's only slightly non-human size. I think it was like 7 foot or something. And so it was just a large, like, human size. And so it was literally eating her alive. And wasn't she paralyzed? Like, her legs were paralyzed, the mom? The fear, I think that what might have been one of the most creeped out I was in an episode, the most scared of Titans.
It was also just a great episode because of Sasha.
And it was a great episode because Sasha was epic. And honestly, I think it's perfect to have her mixed with Gabby, because if you think about if Gabby had been in Sasha's shoes, she would have done the exact same thing, you know?
Yeah, and Gabby killed her. Like it's crazy. And
it makes it even more like, oh, Gabby was supposed to kill her. If we were going to have any growth for Gabby or any like ending of a cycle, there needs to be more narratively, like, to back it up, to make it way more powerful and dynamic, to have any growth from Gabby in terms of, like, calming down a little bit with her animosity, letting go a little bit of that hatred. It just, there's so much backing it up now. It's so deep and it's so rooted in the narrative of Attack on Titan from season 1 now. Like, they took a character they gave us in this season and have now made her relevant to all other seasons of the show.
Yep.
Like, when we rewatch the show and we see things from Sasha from like the first season, Gabby's gonna be in our heads. Like, this has solidified us thinking about Gabby from day one, if on a rewatch.
Yeah. I think I'm so happy because, like, you don't see a lot of instances of what you just described, like, of writing in, like, on a side character being Sasha, right? That was a great episode. It made me fall in love with Sasha to the degree that I love her now. That episode of her defending Kaya.
Because there was also some work she had to do. She was nervous and she was scared.
I thought she was going to die potentially that episode, and she didn't. And they have perfectly, like, connected it into the story. I don't know. I wonder if what was going through the writer's head, and he was like, oh, people are gonna fucking scream when they realize what's going on now. Like, I
was screaming as soon as Kaya, while, like, Gabby and Falco were fighting. She was like, oh, is that what you're taught in Marley?
Yeah.
And I was like,
like, are you Reiner's relative? Because you guys both drop bombs in a very, like, you know, nonchalant way.
They just love to, they make themselves the center of attention by the way that they drop information.
Yeah. Oh.
And we had Reiner hear Gabby and Falco's voices, which I think, I just want to reiterate, gives me some type of credence to a theory that either Gabby and Falco are in fact going to inherit that Titan, the Armored Titan.
Yeah. How do you feel about Reiner? Like, he's not given up on life. He is the person who's trying to suggest a surprise attack.
It's for Gabby and Falco.
It's very compelling to do with Reiner.
He only woke up because it was Gabby and Falco. It was Falco, you know? He woke up because of that.
I'm scared for Reiner and Eren to meet again.
I'm scared for Reiner to meet Connie or Jean or any of them. Mikasa, Armin, like, I mean, Reiner said to us in that iconic line, I'm tired of all these woes, you know? Like, and now he doesn't even bat an eye. He's like, we're going back and we're doing a surprise attack. And I know it's not going to be that easy, but his cousin is over there. But Reiner also doesn't say anything alluding to him thinking Gabby's going to be killed.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Because I think Reiner knows a good deal about the island, that they wouldn't, in fact, just murder Falco and Gabby.
Yeah, it's been 4 years and Eren's different, though, too. But I agree with you. I agree.
But he wants to go back to get them back. He's trying to be in this brain of, I couldn't die then, and I can't die now because now Falco and Gabby need me, and we can't wait 6 months because Zeke obviously has a plan for that 6 months. Like, Global Alliance, I feel like that would be way too big to see that happen in the show. So I feel like they had to go a route narratively for there to be a surprise attack. Because I don't know how it would have gone narratively if we were like, okay, Now we wait 6 months. And let's check in on the island and their progress over the 6 months. And now let's check back to Marley and their progress. Oh no, the big day! Global fight!
Yeah.
That doesn't really seem like a compelling direction. I really love this edition of like, let's just go.
I wonder how it's going to play out because I think it's going to be difficult to have a surprise attack unless you're literally just going to go an airship.
Mm-hmm. Then
okay, but you're going to be like either shot down or you're going to have a colossal titan appear and swat you out of the sky. Like, I don't know what it's going to look like.
And is it possible to have a true and total surprise attack when it's possible for people to be linked throughout
I don't know.
timelines?
Last thing I want to say is that one of the best parts about Anna's dad catching up to where we are in the series was the other day when I was like, oh my God, you've seen it then. He was like, seen what? And I was like, more walls. I'm tired of seeing these walls. And he was like, yes. Like it's one of the most quotable things for me from Attack on Titan.
Oh, the other quotable thing that my dad liked was meat.
Yeah. That just makes me sad.
It makes you sad, but he liked that those were the last words.
Yeah.
Meat.
All right. You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.